Are you unknowingly sabotaging your own success? There's a huge chance you are. Life is full of ups and downs, but the problems start when you focus on the setbacks. This can hold you back in ways you can't even imagine until it's too late. Picture this: in 2010, whilst I'm at university, I get this great idea to set up my own business. I am that confident. I take out a £15,000 loan. I'm already planning my dream life. I've already planned my Ferrari, my first class holiday, where I'm gonna go, how I'm gonna spend the money. But guess what? That business failed. I was stuck with a £15,000 loan. Every month I had to make those payments, which just reminded me of all the mistakes I made. For so long, I thought I was a failure. The crazy thing is, failure is not a bad thing, but the actions you take after a failure can impact your self-image. I was too focused on the mistakes, but also the things I did wrong. Unknowingly, I created a self-image defined by failure. The worst part was, I genuinely believed that being honest with myself, being my harshest critic, reminding myself of my mistakes was the right thing to do. I thought men own up to their mistakes, but also remind themselves of all the wrong things they did. But that did nothing for my self image. Instead, all I was doing was feeding that negativity, creating this self image defined by failure. That's why the first step you have to take to improve your self image is shift your focus. I was too busy focusing on all the negatives, but also all the mistakes I made, like taking out a loan, spending too much money on stock, buying too much stock, spending too much money on a website, spending money on trips to London, not doing enough research. Whereas I should have been focused on all the positives, like I took a risk to start my own business. I made a business plan, went to the bank and actually got a loan, designed my first website, went to London, met loads of new people, learned about suppliers, learned about buying, got loads of valuable experience by taking that one risk. Just imagine you suffer with low confidence, but you also see yourself as a failure. But you get the courage to try something new, but it ends in disappointment. That single experience can feed that negative self-image that you're a failure, but also you can't do anything. But the thing is not to focus on the fact that you failed. You should be focusing on the fact that you took the risk to change your life. By shifting your focus onto the positives, it'll help you improve your self-image, but it'll also give you the ability to try again. So in 2014, I decided to set up my second business, InSoul Clinic. I've actually found the reviews from Google, which I'll put up on the screen now. Looking back, this was a good business idea. You can see from the reviews, it was going somewhere. But the problem was I was too focused on the negatives from my first business. Therefore, this business had no chance of succeeding. As soon as things got hard, I ended up giving up, but also closing down the business because I was too focused on the negatives. I was too focused on my past failures. Instead of focusing on the fact that I was trying again, that I had experience to make this business work, I actually made a better website. I saved money on stock, but also save money on building a website. Instead, I was focused on all the negatives. When you focus on the negatives, you cannot improve your self-image, but also you cannot move forward with your life. If I just focused on the positives, I would have been able to make that business work. Even to this day, I know that business had so much potential. Therefore, you cannot focus on the negatives in your life if you want to improve your self-image. But if you do want to improve your self-image, you've got to focus on all the positive experiences, but also celebrate them. It don't have to be setting up a business. It can be a simple thing like tying your shoelace for the first time, writing your name for the first time, maybe approaching some new people, going to the gym, starting your self-improvement journey, doing your first push-up. So now I only focus on the positives in my life, but also I see the negative experiences as valuable experiences because without them, I wouldn't be here today. What's truly gonna blow your mind, if you believe you don't have any positive experiences in your life, you can create one. Have you ever imagined something and it feels so real? It feels like you're in that moment, you can feel it, you can breathe it, you can see it. It feels so real. That can be your key to escaping that negative self-image. Science has proven your brain cannot tell the difference between a real and a fake experience. Therefore, you can create any positive experience to help you improve your self-image. Which takes me on to my next step, visualization. I used to underestimate the power of visualization, but this can help you improve your self-image, but it can also help you face your fears. That's why I use visualization multiple times a day. So currently I'm taking swimming lessons because I have a massive fear of drowning. So what I like to do is visualize myself moving through the water, but also staying relaxed. By going through this in my mind, I've already experienced the situation. So when I jump into the pool, I'm relaxed, but I'm also a lot less anxious. So if you want to build a more confident self-image, you have to see that in your mind before you can act like that. See yourself standing tall, talking confidently, making eye contact, walking confidently through the room. Because when you constantly visualize your behaviors, it becomes natural. So when you face it in reality, it's a lot easier. Because if you always see yourself as a failure, you will always find ways to fail. If you see yourself as a loser, you will always act like a loser. If you always see yourself as someone with low confidence, you will act like someone with low confidence. If you see yourself as ugly, you will always behave like someone who is ugly. But if you can change the way you see yourself mentally, you will naturally become that person. Visualization can be difficult at first, but with practice, it does become a lot easier. So every day, take some time to visualize the person you want to be, either first thing in the morning before you leave your bed or just before going to sleep. I want you to visualize everything, the person you want to become, how they'll behave, how they'll act, how they'll talk, how they look, but also visualize everything in that environment. Make it as real as possible. What you can smell, what you can see, what you can feel. By constantly holding this mental picture in your mind, you will start to embody the actions, but also the behaviors of the person you want to be. All right, you've got a clear vision of the person you want to be. But now we have to move past the imagination stage, but also start acting like the person you want to be. In other words, fake it till you make it. Now, this might feel uncomfortable at first, trying to be someone you're not, but this is a good sign. It's a sign to show that you're pushing against your old self-image. Right now, your self-image might be stuck in doubt, but every time you behave more confidently, but also try acting like the person you want to be, you're literally rewiring your brain, how it thinks, but also how to behave. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to building a new mental blueprint. Breaking old bad habits can be hard, but you can take little steps like brushing your teeth in the morning with your other hand. This is showing your brain there's other ways of doing things. Just imagine you're someone who doesn't like talking when there's a lot of people around you. You like keeping yourself to yourself, but you want to engage in the conversation and make some new friends. Therefore, you have to deliberately put yourself in the fire. Start speaking when you don't want to. Now, this ain't probably gonna go well. You might say something stupid. It may not go the way you want. But the more you do it, the more you break all bad habits, the more you put yourself in an unfamiliar situation, you start building a new identity. You are showing yourself that you're not scared to take that risk, but also take on new challenges. So it makes it a lot easier to do the things that you want to do. The next thing we're going to have a look at is logical thinking. Now, whatever image you have about yourself, you have to think, is this rational? So I want you to start questioning your beliefs on your self-image. Are these supported by facts or just past experiences and emotions? I guarantee it, most of the time, maybe even 100% of the time, your emotions, but also past experiences, will be ruling your self-image. Now, if you start to think more logically, but also start to focus on the facts, you can start to dehypnotize your brain, but also start improving your self-image. Once you realize your self-image is built up on emotions, but also past experiences, you can use facts and logic to help improve your self-image. Why did my first business fail? It failed because not because I'm a failure. It failed because I didn't do my research. I wasted a lot of money. I didn't take time to listen to people. I thought I knew it all. That is facts. If I had done those four things, my business would have succeeded. It's not because I'm a failure and I'm a loser. It's because I didn't take the right steps. And if I could see that at the time, when it came to my second business, I would have made a lot better decisions. While it's important to learn from your past experiences, it's so important to not let them define you, to let them infiltrate your self-image. It's important that you focus on the facts, but also logic. Therefore, make sure you apply rational thinking whenever you can, whenever you're faced with doubt, anxiety, fear. Because your imagination can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy.